Perfect. So today I'll be covering 28 hacks to reduce inflammation without supplements. Okay. We will cover today what inflammation is, what causes inflammation, why nothing is working, some of the root causes, the functional approach, the 28 hacks, a client story, your homework, some of the blood work that you may want to ask for from your GP, and some more at home tests. And what's the last one? Keep in touch. Okay. Um, let's get started. Now, I wanted to just do a little disclaimer that none of what is being shared today is medical advice. Obviously, see your primary healthcare practitioner for that. And this is being recorded also for another larger audience. So if you could please keep yourselves muted throughout this presentation, that would be great. Now, who am I? I am a former endometriosis and adenomyosis sufferer. I've experienced infertility, couple miscarriages, and a list of debilitating symptoms. Now, they included severe bloating, heavy bleeding, insomnia, panic attacks, lower back pain, brain fog, digestive issues. I mean, the list is long. I spent years seeing specialists, undergoing 2 different procedures, and I've probably tried every single supplement that exists to help myself. Okay. After a few years, eventually I decided to take my health into my own into my own hands, and I used functional health and lab testing to find my own root causes. I have healed myself from all of the debilitating symptoms that I have listed that I had. And today I help women all over the world achieve the same. Oh, there is the disclaimer. Okay, here it is again. That obviously none of this is intended to replace medical advice, so please consult with your primary doctor before making any changes to your diet or taking any supplements. And we are not covering supplements today, so we're good. Housekeeping, okay, please keep yourselves muted. What is inflammation? What is it? It's actually a natural immune response to injury or infection. So as we know, when we have an infection or an injury, or we just had surgery, inflammation will be high, okay? And that's a natural response that your body, has inbuilt as a mechanism to help your body heal. However, once, of course, inflammation is chronic, and that's also when we often find that testing doesn't really pinpoint it anymore, because the inflammation initially would have been, obviously the immune response would have been high, and essentially the immune system becomes weakened. And that is often when we see things like, the CRP markers and things like that not really show that inflammation anymore, unless you've just had surgery, when we can sometimes see that it is obviously elevated. But it's even with like markers like, looking at immune system function, where we can see sometimes these markers are really, really elevated when it is acute. Once it becomes chronic, they don't really tell the story so well anymore, which is why so many women go and have tests done or blood tests done and say, oh, it came back with really nothing. And obviously chronic inflammation can lead to long-term health issues, as we know. Now, endometriosis is inflammation fuels abnormal cell growth and spread while weakening the immune system. Okay, and adenomyosis is a chronic inflammatory condition that disrupts the uterus immune function, allowing endometrial implants to persist and grow. So both are at the root, essentially immune system issues. And I've gone into that a little bit more in previous master classes, but essentially that is one of the root cause issues that we're seeing. Now, what causes inflammation? Okay, overall, we know that a poor diet can cause inflammation. Okay, inflammatory foods, fast foods, the wrong fats, etc., can really cause inflammation. Stress, okay, so that Elevated chronic cortisol breaks your body down over time and increases inflammation. Any type of toxin increases inflammation inside the body, including pharmaceuticals, as well as lack of sleep, movement. Okay, the picture tells us a good story there. But yeah, lack of sleep and movement, obviously, a lack of sleep disrupting our natural circadian rhythm really, really, yes, upsets cortisol regulation as well, and then in turn will cause inflammation. So these are just some of the things that cause inflammation. And I wanted to make a point because I know that obviously I primarily work with women with endometrial adenomas, that surgery itself is an inflammatory event. And when we already have inflammation that is raging and we have more and more surgeries, they sometimes purely make the issue worse long term. Okay. Why are most supplements not helping you? Now, some absolutely can be very helpful. But sometimes when I meet women, they tell me, I'll take all these supplements, but I don't feel any better. It's a bit like, us trying to solve a huge bushfire with a watering can, okay, when we actually need bigger fire trucks. It doesn't work very well, okay? So we need to look closer to the root causes rather than just trying to put the fire out with supplements alone. Now, what haven't you tried? Most women have tried it all. That includes surgery, hormonal treatment, natural remedies, all of it. And then they get told it's all in your head. Okay. Been there, done that. Now, none of these actually address what we often find at the root. Okay. Which is why suppressing estrogen doesn't work that well, why having repeated surgery only really removes excess tissue, but doesn't deal with any of the underlying dysfunctions that are present. And natural remedies oftentimes are just not targeted enough. What I mean by that, they're based off of symptoms. So symptom treatment is surface level treatment. So what's your symptom? Here's your remedy, or here's your pill. Now, that doesn't actually treat any of the underlying dysfunction that are present. Okay, and I'll get to them in a minute. So if we aren't treating close enough to the root causes, the healing process cannot begin. Okay, so we want to get as close to the root cause as possible. That doesn't always mean that we need to know every single root cause of every symptom to start a healing process. The body can help itself out. However, we need to get as close to the root causes, and there's never just one, as possible. Okay, so there's not one root cause for any such disease. There's always several dysfunctions that come together to create the perfect storm. Okay, so, and everyone shows up differently, which is why everyone needs different treatment. So what are some of the root causes that we see when we start testing? Properly testing, that is, because when you look at surface level, you'll see that you'll find, okay, it's all estrogen's fault. So let's just suppress estrogen. You might be told it's all genetics. You might be told you're a mystery case. You might be told, well, we don't really know what's wrong with you because we can't find anything. So overall, really, there's not much help being offered. When you actually look underneath, there's a hell of a lot happening that can be addressed. And when we actually address all of that, which is treating closer to the root causes, the body can start the healing process. So some of the things that I find often being an issue, obviously, are things like herbicides and pesticides, our food's being sprayed with it. So no surprise that so many women test positive to holding on to certain toxins, nutrient deficiencies, specifically enzyme deficiencies, mineral deficiencies, et cetera, et cetera. So those are some of the bigger ones, okay? Parasites in the reproductive system, sluggish liver, blocked drainage pathways. And really what I mean by that is your body has an inability to detoxify optimally, okay? So leaky gut, obviously gut issues, mycotoxins find them to be a huge issue with women with endometriosis and adenomyosis. I don't think it's a surprise because mycotoxins are so severely estrogenic. So they really, really up your estrogenic load. And they are more your xenoestrogens that are disruptive, okay? They like to grow tissue because they are not your natural estrogens that your body produces, okay? They're different. They're chemical compounds and your immune system can't fight them as well. Okay, so endocrine disruptors are huge. Women are being bombarded with endocrine disruptors every single day. Metals bound to the endocrine gland, so often find that heavy metals obviously pose a huge problem when it comes to hormonal balance, suppressed immune system. We talked about that a little bit, and obviously being in a chronic fight or flight state. Okay, so what that means is if we have an inability to relax, calm ourselves, we are more a go, go, go type person, and we have chronic elevated cortisol, it's what we call a fight or flight response. Okay, and it's essentially when we lose the ability to relax. Our body finds that it's, it thinks it's running from a bear constantly. So that's not a good state. And then also we can't really naturally get so well into our rest and digest state where, we can digest a meal properly. So that is a problem. So these are some of the things that we find at the root. Now, really, the reason why a lot of women find themselves going around in circles is because what we're really dealing with is what we call metabolic chaos. And now, without getting too complicated, I utilize this questionnaire for all of my clients. Okay, this is just one example. And the numbers that I have plotted in each of these systems that you see here, and the one that I'm covering with my big head is energy production. But essentially, it's hormones, okay, immune system, digestion, detoxification, energy production, nervous system, and oxidative stress. Okay, these are all the areas that essentially need to be addressed. When the majority of women only get potentially be offered, hormonal treatment or surgery, which is really missing most of the areas that need addressing. Okay, so this is what we call whole body health, is when you actually understand how all of these systems are linked, affect one another. Okay, they're not separate. You can't just like take parts and think that it's separate. Okay, our uterus is not separate from the rest of the body. Everything affects one another. So really, what we want to do, obviously, is look into heavily the immune system function, okay? And these numbers that you see here, really this person's some of the symptoms in each of these systems. So as you can see, these numbers are quite high. So there's a lot of symptoms in each of these systems. Now, we can treat the hormones. That's fine. But then what happens to everything else that is affecting the hormones? Okay, so this is why we keep going around in circles. Now we can do some gut healing, but that doesn't necessarily mean we address any of the other areas, okay? So we really need to address all of it if we want to start the healing process and heal long-term and not just keep band-aiding. So if inflammation is at the root of your health issues, which 99% of the cases or 100% of the cases really it is, then every day without action could be keeping you unwell. Okay, so these are the things that we do need to treat. And just simply having a blood test done is not gonna cut it. Okay, it doesn't give you answers. As a functional diagnostic practitioner, I don't treat diagnosis. I look for healing opportunities to help the body back to balance. Okay, the DRESS protocol that I teach all of my clients has helped over 10,000 people get well and stay well. Okay, what does DRESS stand for? The D stands for diet, the R stands for rest, the E stands for exercise, the S, or two S's, one S stands for stress reduction, the other S stands for supplements, which we will not talk about today because, as I just said, targeted supplementation is what essentially can really, really help to kickstart the healing process. If it's not targeted based on what your individual issues are, it can be a little bit of a waste of money, okay? So this is why we test and don't guess. This is why we don't just throw supplements or throwing supplements at people based on symptoms is a bit like throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Doesn't generally work that well, especially not long term. Okay. So, and it's really, really understanding how if we don't have good foundations in place, None of the supplements are ever going to connect the dots, okay? And I have found this with clients where they have seen amazing results only within weeks, okay, of changing their diet and, looking at their lifestyle. And then stress took over again and they went backwards because essentially that cortisol is still going to keep breaking your body down no matter what. And you're fighting an uphill battle if you're taking supplements, but you're not doing the right thing with lifestyle. So the lifestyle changes and the diet changes always have to come first. And then we introduce the supplements, okay? But before I share all of those hacks with you that are really meant to be easy lifestyle changes that you can make literally today, they're not meant to be taking up all of your day because I know you don't have time for that. But I love this quote, discipline eats motivation for breakfast. Not mine, okay, not my words, but I love it. Why do I love it? Because essentially it never comes down to motivation, really comes down to discipline, okay? Do I feel like making my bed every morning? Hell no. I do it because I'm disciplined and I know that, it kind of feels good, but it's not because I necessarily feel like doing it. A lot of the things I do for my health are not necessarily things that I feel like doing. I do them because I'm disciplined, because I know if I don't do them, I don't feel as well as I do. And I want to stay well, so I keep doing it. Okay, so it's really got not so much to do with motivation. There's plenty of days I'm not as motivated as the day I was yesterday. Okay, so motivation is something that fluctuates. So if you're going to count on our motivation for, utilizing some of these hacks and actually do them often enough, okay, regularly enough to see a change. If we're counting on motivation to get us through that, well, we're probably going to fail at one point or another, okay? So it's really, really sitting down and thinking about our whys, okay? Why is this important to us? Okay, why do we want to do this? And really have focus. And yes, we do need some discipline. And this is actually what I help my clients with as well, okay? Many, many clients fall off track sometimes, okay? I've just recently been talking to 2 clients actually of mine that have been recently sick. Now, when you're sick, sometimes it can easily happen that we fall off, our good new habits. Okay, we might have been eating a lot better, been taking our supplements, we've been doing the lifestyle changes, and then we got sick. Okay, and this happens. Okay, life happens. Stressful events happen. Okay, but that doesn't mean we should lose focus of what's important long term. Okay, but it is normal that sometimes life throws a few lemons at us and then we go, oh my God, how do I get back on track here? And that's where discipline comes in. Now, none of these hacks are going to be like, this kind of overnight thing, like I'm going to do it once and yes, I'll feel better. This comes down to doing them often enough, okay? So hack number 1 is eating in a parasympathetic state. Why is this so important? So many women I talk to are so stressed. They're so busy in the morning, trying to, and I understand that, trying to get the kids out of the house, pack the lunch boxes, do all this. And then maybe I'll just shove something quickly in my mouth while I run out the door with my coffee in my hand, okay? Why is this not a good idea to be eating that way? Because we're literally, when we're doing it that way, when we're eating in a stressful state, we're not in a rest and digest state. And in a rest and digest state is where our parasympathetic nervous system actually activates our enzymes, okay, in the saliva for our carbohydrate digestion, where our stomach acid gets ramped up for protein breakdown, and where we obviously have, adequate, then as a result of that, have enough, bile flow and enzymes for fat digestion. This is why it's so important that we actually sit down with our meal with no distractions. Now, I don't mean don't get rid of your kids while you eat. I know that doesn't work very well. I have done myself, but maybe turn the TV off, have no phones there, and just really try and concentrate on the meal in front of you. Chew your food, okay? Properly chew your food. No, don't just like scuffing down because your stomach doesn't have teeth, okay? All of this stomach acid production that needs to be ramped up, okay, to have that digestive fire, and the enzyme production that happens as a result of the food coming in. Your pancreas doesn't just make enzymes constantly just because it feels like it. It does it as a result of the food coming in. But this process that needs to happen, okay? So if we're on a run and just eating really, really fast, it's really, really impairing our digestive function. So it's actually really important that we don't eat on a run and when we're in a stress state, and that we're eating when we are more calm, okay, and with no distraction. That was hack one. I know I say that's like an easy thing to do, but I know for a lot, it's actually a habit that they've been doing it for a long time, where they just eat in the car on the way to work or something like that. Hack two, remove seed oils. Now, why are seed oils so bad for us? Because they are basically omega-6, okay, fatty acids, which promote inflammation. And I love how marketing is so good. Like that Nuttelex you see up there, it's the healthy alternative. It's a healthy alternative that is full of vegetable oils. Vegetable oils is not what you think it is. So these oils disrupt the balance between omega-3s and omega-6s fats, fueling chronic inflammation. Okay, so we really want to cut it because really omega-6 oils is in everything. I really challenge you to pick up anything that comes out of a packet and try and find something that doesn't contain omega-6 seed oils, okay? So all your vegetable oils, your sunflowers, your peanut oils, all of those oils are essentially omega-6s. So the oils that you want to concentrate on more so are oils like avocado oil, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil best for low temps, tallow and ghee, okay? Those are the better ones, or butter if just raw butter if you don't have an issue with dairy, of course. But they are much better than any other seed oils that increase inflammation. Now, hack number 3, add apple cider vinegar to your routine. Okay, so what is it with apple cider vinegar? Okay, apple cider vinegar before meals can help our digestion, okay, because it can increase the stomach acid production, which then helps to break down food more efficiently, okay? That is why apple cider vinegar is your natural stomach acid production support, essentially, okay? So it really, really helps with the nutrient absorption and then reduces the risk of undigested foods fermenting in the gut, okay, which can cause things like bloating and then lead to inflammation. So it can really, really help with reducing systemic inflammation. And you can also add a little bit of raw honey to like a little shot of apple cider vinegar if you find like it's a bit burny or something like that. Because honey also comes with the natural enzymes, so it can be really good. Now, hack number 4, increase your whole food protein. And I say whole food protein because I don't mean the stuff that comes out of the packet that's marketed well and that says that it's got protein in it. If it comes out of a packet and it says there's protein in there, maybe don't go for that. I mean like whole food protein. So we want your eggs and your fish and your chicken and your beef and your eggs, those kind of things. Now, you really want to aim for about 30 grams of protein per meal, which will help reduce inflammation by providing essential amino acids that support immune function and tissue repair. There are amino acids, okay, that the majority of women are lacking, actually help to support not just your immune function and tissue repair, but also your liver, okay, so your liver detoxification. Amino acids like glutamine play a key role in maintaining gut health, reducing intestinal permeability, so that's what we call leaky gut, and preventing inflammation. Okay, so super, super important, those proteins. Hack number 5, eat breakfast before coffee. I talk about this all the time. Why? Because if you're drinking coffee on an empty stomach, essentially you can stimulate or increase the production of cortisol straight in the morning. Now, you want the majority of, or you have the majority of your cortisol available in the morning, okay? But if you shoot it up too high, what goes up will come down, okay? Because your cortisol goes on a little bit of a curve, goes up in the morning, and then it should gradually come down. For a lot of people, it doesn't happen gradually, it goes up, and we're going on a crash. Now, coffee will only contribute to that crash being even bigger. And when you don't have, when you have these cortisol spikes and then you crash, that affects every other hormone. Okay, so essentially you want to look at balancing your cortisol and really looking at your stress and the things that you do that increase cortisol before you want to really tackle estrogen and progesterone, because they're never going to balance if you're not going to look at what's cortisol doing and what you're doing with your lifestyle. Okay. So elevated cortisol levels can trigger an inflammatory response by increasing also gut permeability, leaky gut, and then altering the gut microbiome, which again is an issue because that affects your immune system. So everything affects, other functions in your body, which is a problem. Hack number 6, walk after meals. Now, even just a quick 10 to 15-minute walk after meals can reduce inflammation because walking improves circulation and helps your body process nutrients better, or while reducing stress, which can contribute to inflammation, as I've just mentioned about a million times, and I'll probably keep mentioning it. Hack number 7, add lemon to water. Now, drinking a glass of water with freshly squeezed lemon in the morning can help reduce inflammation because lemon has antioxidant properties that support your immune system function, and also hydration, which helps to flush out toxins, as we know. Hack number 8, soak and rinse your rice. Rinsing your rice helps reduce inflammation by removing excess starch, which can cause blood sugar spikes, leading to inflammation. And also most rice contains arsenic, okay, which is a toxic substance that can contribute to chronic inflammation and health issues, okay? Soaking and rinsing rice actually can significantly reduce the arsenic levels. Now, I'm not saying don't have rice, okay? I know in the holistic health world, things can get a little bit crazy sometimes. Eat your rice, absolutely, but there's a reason we see people in these Asian countries sit there and rinse their rice all the time. There's a reason for it, okay? Because it really, really helps. And I'd actually say that your white rice is better than your brown rice because your brown rice has the husk and it actually contains more arsenic. Okay, and I have found that with people that eat a lot of rice products, specifically one client where arsenic was through the roof. And yes, she was eating a lot of rice products. Let's say you hack number 1, add cinnamon to everything. I love doing that. So I'm literally the person that has a cinnamon out on the bench, and I pretty much sprinkle it on everything. So my fruits, pineapple, while I eat my meat, and anything else I really make, my Greek yogurt and fruit, cinnamon goes always on top. Why? Because it really, really helps to reduce inflammation. It has anti-inflammatory compounds, and it also helps to regulate blood sugar levels, okay, which is so, so important because preventing those spikes can really, really help with reducing or preventing, any kind of inflammation in the body. Because again, that cortisol and that insulin, your blood sugar, you want to keep those stable. It also supports your body's immune response by reducing oxidative stress, which is a key driver of chronic inflammation. I see oxidative stress high or elevated in pretty much every one of my clients. So it is something that absolutely needs to be addressed. Hack number 10, skip water with meals. Why? Because when we drink too much water with meals, all we're doing is diluting our stomach acid and digestive enzymes that we need to digest our foods, okay? So if we feel like a need to have a lot of water, it actually is a sign that we have digestive dysfunction, okay? If we feel like we get these lumps and we can't really properly get our food down, it actually means that we don't have enough stomach acid and digestive enzymes to help, or we're probably not chewing our food long enough to produce some of these, enzymes and everything in our saliva that then signals to our stomach to make stomach acid and more enzymes to the pancreas. Okay, that is a process that needs to happen. So if we feel like we've been eating too fast and then, oh my God, like give me a glass of water, that's because you literally just ate too fast. Okay, so that's again goes back to number 1 of sitting in a rest and digest and not scoffing your food down and eating in a hurry and all those kind of things. But what you really want for your digestion is to have what we call digestive fire. Okay, so that food comes in and your stomach is ready to kind of start, digesting it. And then, your nutrients can get absorbed if we have enough digestive enzymes, which you will have as a result of good gut health that just not a lot of people have. Okay, so again, like I just said, it really does weaken your body's digestive fire and slows down the entire digestive process, okay? So I would really, if you are someone who's used to drinking a lot of water with meals or just before or after, I would kind of stick to maybe just a little bit of water, about maybe 30 minutes before you have a meal, and then wait at least an hour to two to drink a lot of water after meals, okay? Hack number 11, eat carrot salad. Okay. Dr. Ray Peat actually came out with this one. Because raw carrot salad cleans the intestine, thus helping to prevent overloading the liver with toxins. The liver is responsible for detoxifying excess estrogen, as we know, and the raw carrot salad can help to prevent the reabsorption of excess estrogen and help with digestion. Okay, it also has antifungal and antibacterial properties. Now, when I was, this is a while ago, but when I was trying to fall pregnant with my daughter, I remember we went on a few trips during that time. I had my carrot salad every single day and I took it everywhere. I prepped it for weeks in advance and I just literally took it everywhere. Now, I'm not going to say that's what essentially made me fall pregnant with my daughter, but it probably did help. And I actually listed my recipe here. So I used to just do 2 like carrots, shred them, a little bit of vinegar. I used apple cider vinegar and coconut oil and a little bit of salt to taste. And then you can also do a little bit of lemon in it if you like. But yeah, you can literally shred your carrots for like a week in advance, just keep them in the fridge, and then do your dressing fresh, obviously. Yeah, and so I used to just prep it for a whole week and have it ready to go every single day. Yeah, so it really, really helps. Hack number 12, dry brush. Dry brushing is something that can really, really help to stimulate the lymphatic system, okay, which promotes detoxification and reduces inflammation. So super, super beneficial. Now, this is not something you need to do for long, okay? I mean, everyone has a shower a day, so well, I hope so anyway. So if you have a shower a day, then all this will be adding is essentially 2 to 3 minutes to your routine of doing a little bit of dry brushing. And you can easily look up some videos on YouTube, how you do, dry brushing. And yeah, and just do it before you shower. And that can really, really help with stimulating your lymphatic system, which is actually fairly stagnant in a lot of women with endometriosis due to the high toxin load. Now, cold water rinse, if you can handle it. Finish your shower with a cold water rinse for about 30 seconds to a minute, because cold water can help reduce inflammation and promote circulation by stimulating the blood flow and thus reducing swelling. Hack number 14, ditch toxic skincare. Now, as I said earlier, we women are truly being bombarded with probably some of the most toxic things, and we put them on our skin every day. Makes perfect sense, right? Use anti-inflammatory skincare products. So obviously, look for products that contain more like your anti-inflammatory ingredients, things like aloe vera, chamomile, green tea, because they can really help to calm any skin irritation and reduce overall inflammation because your skin absorbs everything. Okay, so our largest organ, our skin absorbs everything, and your liver will still have to detoxify all these toxic ingredients. So it can really add to your toxin load and thus your estrogenic load because most of these things are very, very estrogenic by nature. A lot of these chemicals that are in it. So that is the first thing I would do is like, what are you actually putting on your body? Not just in your body, but on your body that your skin absorbs that is adding to your estrogenic load, okay? This is one thing that I highly, highly recommend doing. Now, I don't recommend doing these kind of things overnight. If you're someone who uses a lot of products, just kind of pick it up and have a look at the ingredients. Now, say if you can't really pronounce most of the ingredients that are in it, potentially they're not good for you. Hack number 15, deep breathing. Now, this might sound super, super simple, but there's actually something that was recommended to me during a stage of severe inflammation and panic attacks and insomnia 24, anxiety 24/7. I didn't realize I was breathing so much from my chest all the time. Okay, so this is not something that overnight's gonna like do anything magically, but it was just something that no one's ever mentioned to me. So I wasn't aware of me doing it, that I was like breathing so heavily from just my chest, not from the belly, which is where, we should have deep belly breath. And so it was just that whole awareness and realization of what I was actually doing, that I then kind of was like, okay, I'm going to remind myself of this every day, that I need to do some deep belly breath. Okay. Um, Practice deep breathing exercises while brushing your teeth or in the shower. So, it's not something that you have to do for, hours in a day. It's just something where you feel like you're feeling anxious. You just put your hand on your belly and go, okay, let's take a few deep belly breaths. Okay. But then do that more regularly, and just sometimes it's just that awareness around that we don't have, because we don't realize that we're even doing it. And that was really it for me. That I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. So that can really, really help. And it puts us in more in that parasympathetic nervous system state, okay, in that rest and digest state, rather than in that being anxious and, doing the fast breathing, which only increases inflammation. Hack number 60. Now, of course, I want you to hydrate, okay? I just don't want you to hydrate with the meals, but of course, I want you to hydrate, okay? Because dehydration can lead to constipation. So we really want to drink enough water each day, because the body does absorb more water from the colon in an effort to maintain hydration, leaving stool dry and then hard, okay? So if you're struggling with constipation, first thing you need to do is look at your hydration. And then also, without enough water, the intestines have difficulty moving waste smoothly, resulting in slower bowel movements. Okay. And then that discomfort and strain over time, dehydration can absolutely contribute to chronic digestive issues and also inflammation. Now, the reason I added what we call the drainage funnel, the top there, is because essentially your colon is at the bottom of the drainage funnel. If you can't drain, and if you can't have at least one proper bowel movement a day, everything else upstream gets affected. Okay, so this is why I always like to explain that essentially we are a drainage funnel. And the majority of women have a lot of blockages in the drainage funnels. So if we have blockages in the drainage funnels and we can't really drain and detoxify properly, guess what happens? The body's got to start storing stuff, right? And if we can't have a proper bowel movement each day, well, that's a big, big problem, okay? Because nothing else that is sitting upstream of that is going to essentially drain properly, and we're going to make estrogen metabolism also worse, because estrogen needs to be detoxified by your liver daily, and then it needs to go out with your bowel movement. And if we don't have a bowel movement, we can absolutely reabsorb those estrogens, and then things just become like this toxic soup inside, which is not ideal. Hack number 17. Now, if you have a trampoline at home, if you have kids, or your neighbor has a trampoline, maybe you can use that. But or even just invest in one of those really small ones like this one in the picture here. But jumping on a trampoline for literally as little as 10 to 15 minutes a day helps reduce inflammation, because it supports the lymphatic system by stimulating lymph flow through gentle movement. This is, again, not something you need to do for hours a day. You don't need to do excessive exercise or go for a run, which is not something a lot of women with endometriosis and adenomyosis feel like ever doing anyway. Can be really, really hard on the body as well. But something as gentle as a little bit of jumping on trampoline, okay, can be really, really good, because that kind of like more gentle up and down motion enhances circulation and encourages the movement of lymph, which helps to flush out toxins and wastes, okay, from the body, which really, really does promote that stronger immune system, okay? You need your immune system to work for you again, okay? So it can help you out. Because for a lot of women with endometriosis and adenomyosis, we have that immune system that is so, so weakened. So in that kind of suppressed state, the body can't really fight for itself, if that makes sense. So really anything we can do and help the body out with, essentially, in lowering inflammation, will help your immune system, okay? So this is what we talk about, or why I talk about the issue with the immune system with women with endometriosis and adenomyosis, which is the bigger issue than the actual hormonal imbalances that are present. Yes, they are present, but they're more so present as a result of the other dysfunctions that are there. So when you actually address the body overall, your hormones will eventually follow suit, okay? We don't need to attack estrogen. We need to understand why the hormonal imbalances are there in the first place, and then we can help the body out. Now, a lot of people sit in front of the TV at nighttime I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I do think while you are watching TV, why not do a little bit of stretching? Okay, so while watching TV, take a few moments to stretch your legs, back, and shoulders, because gentle stretches, again, can improve circulation, reduce stiffness, and help you alleviate inflammation, especially in your joints and muscles. Or just if you've got a little foam roller, even just that, like, lay on it with your back and just use a little bit of that foam rolling. I love that for like cracking my back sometimes. So it can really, really help to release some of the, tightness and stiffness and improve circulation, and thus reducing inflammation. So these are just little things, again, that you don't need to do for long at all. This is not going to take you all day. Most people, don't necessarily do much at nighttime before they go to bed. So this is something, this could be an easy thing to do as part of your wind down routine before you go to bed. Drink homemade tea. So tea can be hugely beneficial, okay, but you don't necessarily need to run out and buy some of these well-marketed teas, because I'd say there's some that are really well-marketed as well. Because it's literally, and that's why I mentioned my recipe here, because all you need to do is just a little bit of water, a handful of ginger and turmeric, a bit of black pepper, bring that to a boil, and then obviously strain it, and then add some lemon and honey, and you have a beautiful tea. Okay, so this is all you need to do. And yes, ginger and turmeric and chamomile, they have great anti-inflammatory properties in there. So sipping on them while watching TV can be an easy way to combat inflammation. Again, if you're doing this once, you're not gonna feel the effects. But what I'm saying is, if you do some of these things often enough, you will see that they will help over time. Okay. Hack number 20, castor oil packs. Now, castor oil packs, but more so when combined with heat, okay, because the heat really helps to penetrate the castor oil more deeply into the tissues and then promote the blood flow to the affected areas. So I would definitely say, if you are someone who has tried them, definitely do it with the heat pack. And also, this is something where I'd say you've got to do it consistently enough, and also sometimes for long enough. So I'm not saying start with wearing them overnight. If you're not used to them, start with an hour or two at nighttime, and then take it off and see how you feel the next day, and then essentially go to wearing them overnight when you feel ready. Yeah, I definitely recommend using the heat with it, because it really does help relax the muscle, then increase the circulation, open up the pores, allowing the castor oil to be absorbed more effectively, thus supporting the body's natural healing and reducing inflammation in the targeted areas. But an extra tip on top of that is actually then using essential oil as well. So you use that castor oil and you put a little bit of, sorry, my writing's gone a little bit top of each other there. If you use the essential oils, then that can help with decreasing inflammation on top of just using the castor oil with the heat. So some of these ones that I recommend, obviously lavender, because lavender is great for calming and promoting relaxation. Clary sage, okay, can support hormonal balance and emotional well-being. Geranium helps regulate hormones, stabilize emotions. Frankincense reduce stress and enhance overall well-being. And Roman chamomile. Okay, so these are just a few. There's plenty of essential oils out there, but I'd say these are probably my favorites for women with endometriosis and adenomyosis. And again, while we were just talking about castor oil packs, obviously don't use them while you're on your period. Hack number 22, have a consistent nighttime routine and sleeping 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Why am I saying that? Because essentially you want to support your natural circadian rhythm, and the body loves to, I guess, align with the body's natural sleep-wake cycles, which helps regulate hormones like melatonin and cortisol, thus then reducing inflammation. And also your 4 hours before, or 2 hours of sleep before midnight really are worth 4 hours. Why? Because your body detoxifies in your deepest sleep. So if we're not hitting that deep sleep by about midnight or a little after, we can run into trouble with detoxification cycles that your liver goes through in your deepest sleep. So sleeping earlier improves restorative sleep, which is crucial for cell repair and immune function. Again, so your sleep quality matters. I'm going to say women wake, if you had a 7-hour sleep, but you feel like you haven't slept at all, your sleep quality is obviously affected by things within your sleep disrupting that. So that's often the liver. If you wake up in the middle of the night, it's your liver. If you wake up and you feel hungry, it's generally a blood sugar issue. Your blood sugar's dropped too low. It's woken you up. You need to eat to go back to sleep. Obviously, it helps us to lower stress and cortisol, and then also helps us balance our metabolism. So these are just a few things to why it's really, really important to have a consistent routine for our body. It thrives on routine. Okay. Hack number 23, create a calm and dark environment. So ensure your bedroom is cool, dark, and quiet, as this promotes deep sleep. Okay, we want to get into a deep sleep. Quality sleep helps lower cortisol, the stress hormone, which in turn reduces inflammation, okay? The more your cortisol stays chronically elevated, the more it'll keep driving inflammation as well, okay? This is why I always look at all of these things not as, root cause issues, as some may like to present them. They're all contributing factors. They're all driving factors to a degree, okay? So this is just another example. There's lots and lots of contributing factors that drive or keep driving inflammation. Okay, so it's things like obviously blackout curtains, sleep mask, or calming essential oils can really help create that ideal sleep environment. If you're someone who has issues with sleep, I know how it feels. I've been there for many, many years, and yes, you can obviously heal from those issues, things like insomnia, anxiety, etc. These are all things that are just signals that our body is severely imbalanced, okay? Hack number 24, magnesium spray and Epsom salt bath. Now, Epsom salt bath, I'd say you'd have to do them at least once a week, but they can be really, really helpful, obviously, with relaxing our muscles and reducing pain. They help flush out toxins that contribute to inflammation, and they can help with promoting better sleep, which lowers stress-related inflammation. So you can do this, sometimes even before you go to sleep, and then see if you feel a difference the next day and how you slept. It can tell you a lot. And then magnesium spray, I love to use magnesium spray under the feet. Okay, absorbs very, very quickly through the skin to ease muscle tension, supports nerve function, reducing stress and inflammation, and helps balance cortisol levels. Okay, so can be super, super beneficial. Something to try out if you haven't yet. Hack number 25, incorporate more berries. Who doesn't love berries? Berries are great because they are packed with antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Okay, so I'd say even just adding a handful of berries to your breakfast in whatever way, whether it's to your yogurt, your smoothie, oatmeal, whatever it is that you're eating, can be greatly beneficial. Okay. Hack number 25, manage stress with journaling. Now, cortisol is obviously something that I've spoken a bit about now being an issue if it, is chronically elevated. Now helping you with dealing with that and the fact that obviously life will throw stress at us here or there, of course. But what I actually found hugely beneficial as well is journaling, or simply just writing things down. Okay, sometimes just writing thoughts down can really, really help process emotions, reducing cortisol, promotes emotional release, okay, rather than telling the person, how you feel, knowing that they don't really care. Write it down, and then put it away. And enhances mindfulness, okay? Even just a gratitude journal, sometimes writing, 3 to 5 things down that you're grateful for every night, can be really, really helpful in helping calm your nerves, and reducing cortisol, thus reducing inflammation. Hack number 26, move more. Now, this is something I have to tell myself every day as well, because obviously I have a job that requires me to sit in front of a computer a lot, and do long consultations. But this actually, we're not meant to be in this kind of stagnant state for that long. So I like to set little reminders, okay? So my phone goes off and has me move. So get up and move, even if it's just for a few minutes, or me just, going outside and getting a little bit of sun. I know that this isn't possible for everyone, depending on what your job is. However, it is really, really important that we take more frequent breaks to move. Okay. And again, if you have an office job, it doesn't mean that you have to go for a 30-minute walk after each hour. I doubt your boss will be really happy with that, but simply just getting up and walking around and stretching a little bit to help with, reduce stiffness and things like that, and help to keep your blood flowing again. Okay, can really, really help to reduce inflammation, because we're not meant to be that stagnant for too long. Okay. Ditch the perfume, okay? Because hidden chemicals. I don't actually know if there's anything that is a bigger endocrine disruptor than perfume. And yet we're like bombarded with it, like literally got to use it, right? They really are full of chemicals that, yes, our skin will absorb, okay? And if you think, I'm just going to spray it on my clothes, well, you're breathing it in, okay? So it's really no different. It's a huge inflammation trigger. Again, it really, really causes what I touched on before, oxidative stress, which fuels chronic inflammation. It's like adding fuel to an existing fire. That's what we're doing by, spraying all these perfumes and, other toxins around in our home. It is literally one of the first things that I've ditched when I learned it. Never felt better. Most of the time they're bloody expensive, and I really don't get it. So yeah, I would definitely use things like essential oil blends. There's plenty out there now, um, and use more natural moisturizers as well, and stuff like that that don't have fragrance. So always look for, and it's really, really hard, trust me, it's a bit of a challenge, because the majority of things, as you will start, being more aware and picking things up and looking at ingredients, you will find that it's actually quite difficult to find things without fragrance. Fragrance is in everything, and it is one of the biggest endocrine disruptors there is. Okay. EMS. Now, again, something we are being bombarded with left, right, and center. EMS really, really can contribute to chronic inflammation by disrupting cellular function and increasing oxidative stress. Okay, so a lot of these things that we're being bombarded with, like your toxins, your fragrance, your EMFs, really, really increase oxidative stress, which drives chronic inflammation. Okay, so sometimes what I say is even just something as, if possible, taking the phone out of the bedroom. Remember, we sleep for a long time. Okay, so that is where we can make a huge difference already, is if we just took the devices out of the bedroom, because we're giving our body a huge break when the majority of people still have all of their devices and everything in the bedroom as well. So I'd say that's probably a really, really good place, is like remove your phones from the bedroom, so that at least for the time you sleep, you're not, around your phone. So that's an easy way, I actually think, unless for some reason you have to have your phone in your bedroom. But I think most people use it for an alarm, but I mean, just an old-fashioned alarm clock will do as well, I'm sure. So yeah, that's an easy thing that everyone can do. Now, I want to share a little client story with you. Angelica went from non-stop endo pain to off painkillers. Now, my screen is kind of weird, but anyway, so I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, that's great. Okay. So Angelica, when she first came to me, she tried everything. Okay, so she was in constant pain for the majority of every month. She tried Gerson therapy, intermittent fasting, countless of supplements, low carb diet. She had been vegan for a long time as well when she came to me. And she realized that none of the things that she was doing, also that she was doing for a long time, And Gerson therapy is something that is really, really, really difficult. Okay. It's really, really hard to follow, very strict. But she realized that none of the things she was doing were actually making her feel better. So along with the persistent pain, she also experienced discomfort during bowel movements, bladder pain, bloating, severe fatigue, daily energy crashes. Okay. So she had really truly seen everyone, taken all the supplements. Actually, I remember she came to me with a huge supplement list she was on already. But she was frustrated and at wit's end because she really didn't see the progress that she thought she should be making with all of the things she was doing and trying and changing her diet. But she also figured that something must be missing. So the 4 pillars really that helped Angelica take back control and find relief are, and let me share them with you. I don't know why I did it. Mineral balancing. Just ignore that. So it's meant to say pillar, but for some reason it's coming out this way. I think it's pushing it for some reason weirdly in this presentation. Within only a few months, Angelica noticed her energy levels going up and her pain reduced. Okay, so she was happy that she could finally do more physical activities. Now, mineral balancing is something I do with every single one of my clients. Why? Because it's the one thing that most of the time gets overlooked and doesn't get addressed. It's the fact that minerals are foundational to every single function in the human body. And trying to build a house on a shaky foundation isn't a good idea. It's the same with the body. Okay. If you don't have a strong foundation, you can try and treat things surface level, but things will still crumble again. Okay. So you really need to have mineral balance. The reason why oftentimes they will remain somewhat okay in blood is because it's a homeostatic control of your body. Okay. It'll utilize its stores before it'll ever imbalance it within the blood, when your doctor will be like, oh, we need to look a little bit deeper. But that generally doesn't happen until we, kind of entered far more advanced stages. So, but we don't want to get to that place. Okay. So in tissue level, we can really, really see kind of what's happening in the background, like what's actually happening more at the roots, and how can we prevent more diagnoses, because no one wants to have more diagnoses. Okay. So essentially we want to get to things before they get worse and worse and worse. And yes, minerals are the spark plugs to life. Okay. Because they do control many functions, such as, helping us make hormones, enzymes, relaxing, contracting muscles. Okay, so seeing that huge imbalance between calcium and magnesium hugely affects how we, relax and contract our muscles, for example. How we create energy within the body. How do you make ATP? Okay. How do we make energy? What do we actually need? Okay. It's not just one mineral. We need balance between different minerals to do so. So actually, when it comes to minerals, it's a balancing act. It's not just looking at minerals in isolation and giving someone magnesium and iron and off you go. It's understanding how each of the minerals affect each other, and then thus, we create energy. So this is what I do with every client. And I did this with Angelica, of course. Now, the second pillar is gut health. Sorry about this heading. That's terrible. Testing revealed that Angelica had several underlying pathogens contributing to inflammation and bloating, which in turn weakened her immune system and increased her pain. Now, these are the kind of things that will continue to contribute to inflammation. This is why I say, and then weaken your immune system unless they're being dealt with. These are all what we essentially call weaklings. Okay, we all have different weaklings that contribute to this, I guess, inflammation is, still, being really, really high, and that fire just not going out whatsoever, because we still haven't dealt with the different contributing factors, or weaklings that you simply haven't dealt with. And pathogens are one of them. The third pillar is toxin load. Okay, so testing revealed that Angelica had a high toxin load, including stored arsenic in tissues, mycotoxins, and parasites. Now, Zearalenone is one of the mycotoxins that's already been widely studied, and it significantly increases estrogenic load, xenoestrogens. It's already been linked to endometriosis, and it increases inflammation and pain. So this is only one of the mycotoxins. There's plenty of mycotoxins, okay? But this is what we call xenoestrogens, different because they are differently structured, but they hugely affect your body on a whole. and increase inflammation. So again, this is one of the root cause contributing factors that if we don't get on top of these kind of things, it doesn't matter what you do at surface level. It doesn't matter. You can throw things at estrogen, you still got something like zeroiliona thriving in your tissues because your body can't, get rid of it. Doesn't matter what you do at surface level. You're going to keep going around in circles until you address all of the root cause issues, all of the dysfunctions. Okay. Pillar 4 is personalized nutrition and support. Obviously, this is why I don't like to talk too much about supplements, because all I can give is generic advice that doesn't always apply even to the individual, because if it's not based on testing, it's not targeted supplementation. So this is obviously what I do based off testing. Everyone gets a personalized protocol, a nutrition support, and really be there to assist my clients all the way through. Okay. Accountability is also something that a lot of clients struggle with, and it's something that I help with. Now, as promised, at the end, we're going to talk about a few quick tips that you can take away. Now, I know this is a big slide, so I don't know if you can screenshot it, but really what these are general inflammation blood markers. Okay, now they may not come back with anything, again, because we're dealing with chronic inflammation. Okay, CRP is often something that is more like, it's not often necessarily elevated with women with endometriosis and adenomyosis, but it can be. So these are just a few markers that will point to inflammation. That obviously, again, inflammation itself is not a root cause. Okay, I want to say that. So even if you find, oh yeah, I found a dot on a piece of paper, finding a dot on a piece of paper still doesn't explain anything. Okay, most of the testing we can run, even functional testing, doesn't necessarily explain anything. Most hormonal testing is often a waste of money. Why? Because it doesn't explain anything. It just explains what you already know. Your hormones are a mess. So a lot of the testing itself doesn't explain anything unless you have someone like a functional practitioner that can actually connect the dots for you as to why you're showing up, where you're showing up. Okay. So why are we having this crazy inflammation? Okay. What's the root of it? What are the driving factors behind that? So these are just a few, and I also say, I just saw at the bottom says so we got homocysteine and ferritin. Ferritin is actually also a marker of inflammation. Okay, so you don't want a crazy high. You definitely want it in a normal range, definitely not elevated. Okay, when elevated, absolutely an inflammation marker. So I don't know, yeah, if you can screenshot it. If not, then yeah, let me know and I can send some of these through to you as well. Now, liver and protein markers for inflammation. These are some, okay, BUN, especially AST, LIT, okay, your liver markers. Definitely don't want to see them elevated. And I love to sometimes clients send me these and they are elevated and the doctor didn't even say anything. And it's like, oh, okay, so we actually are finding something via blood, which is, actually rare sometimes. And then we don't even get told what to do. So if these are elevated, I mean, yes, we have, a liver detox issue that the majority of women with endometriosis and adenomyosis have, and we need to understand, what does the liver want from us? Liver doesn't always want a detox. The liver wants a lot of nutrients that's probably missing to perform optimally. Okay. And then some of the gut and metabolic health markers. Okay. So again, probably easier if you screenshot them, write them out on a list and say to your GP, can we run some of these? Okay. If they're willing. Say that, GPs aren't always willing, but these are some really, really good markers. Definitely have a look at hemoglobin A1C. Have that run. That's a really good marker. So the last tip I will be giving you is a Candida spit test that you can do from home. Okay, now this is one that looks at Candida specifically, but it's actually one that you can do tomorrow, not today, because you need to do this in the morning. So really it looks for Candida. I mean, really you want to look out if you even have Candida symptoms, or chronic fatigue, things like that, gut issues, brain fog, very, very common with Candida. And you may want to do this for 6 days in a row, and do not consume dairy while doing the test. The instructions are: fill a glass of halfway with room temperature water first thing in the morning before you eat or drink anything or brush your teeth. Okay, so it has to be the first thing you do in the morning. And then work up to like a dime-sized amount of saliva and spit into a glass. You can see on that picture there. And then watch the spit for about, the next 45 minutes. Check it about 2 or 3 times during that time. See if the saliva either floats on top or grows legs. Okay. Or it sinks to the bottom, like there in the picture. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to beat my screen here. If the saliva floats on top, the candida overgrowth is not as likely. Okay. If it's somewhere, sorry, I can't actually read my own slide right now, which is great. But I guess if you got that speckled in the specks in floating, then it's a bit more likely, and if it's at the bottom, then it's less likely. Okay. So, but again, this is just an at-home test that it's not 100% obviously until you have proper testing done. But this can be an indicator, obviously, that there's something wrong. Okay, so ideally you want it to float on top. You don't want it really in the middle, and you don't want it at the bottom. So now your homework. Obviously, this is a masterclass challenge, which means that you actually want to do some of these things. I mean, it's great that people are listening to my masterclasses and challenges, and they're coming, and I love that. But you actually need to do some of the things. Just listening to it isn't really going to do it. Wouldn't that be great? So yes, I really, really would love you to commit to at least 5 new habits to support your health and reduce inflammation, okay? Because small changes, big results. Okay, none of these things should take you that long to do every single day, but adapt to some of them that I guess speak to you that you can see yourself doing more regularly and consistently. And let me know how you go. If you are someone who struggles with accountability or sticking to anything new and you find it hard to change your habits, now I want you to know that it's completely normal. We are all creatures of a habit and we all do it. If you need help, let me know. I can send you through a accountability sheet that might help you with setting some new goals and focusing. I find that sometimes having something in front of me, even writing something down, and making a bit of a plan for myself can really, really help to stick to it. Okay. So if you would like that sheet, then let me know and I can send it through. How can you stay in touch? Now, here's just my contact details, my email, sarah@nutriroodhealth.com.au, also my Instagram @nutrirood_health. And then I've also got my blog and also have my podcast, My Health, My Way, that you can go and visit. Now, this was really it for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's presentation and that you took some helpful tips away that you can try out. And I will sure be back next month with another masterclass. But for now, I hope that you'll have a wonderful week. You are welcome. Okay. Bye, guys.